Good morning, welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Friday, April 4th, 2014. Former Aon Benfield chairman Graham Chilton's new reinsurance brokerage company called Capsicum Re, based in London and housed nominally within Arthur J. Gallagher, has begun to make some moves. They apparently have taken a number of UK-based motor brokers from Aon Benfield, Chilton's old company, and they seem to be close to picking up senior marine and energy broker Don McGee. He's expected to be Capsicum's biggest hire to date, although officially he has not yet tendered his resignation as of yesterday afternoon. Insurance insiders reporting that Chilton is trying to acquire a reinsurance brokerage company, as well as their accounts, of course. A merger via an acquisition would be a much better policy for Capsicum, because if not, they're going to have to be picking up brokers as they come along. And in the United Kingdom, there are contract notice periods that are mandatory, sometimes as long as 12 months, but usually 6 months. The UK calls this gardening leave, where the former employer remains the current employer and has to pay the broker, who essentially sits at home and gardens for that 6-month period, but cannot yet start working at the new company. It's an amazing process, actually. The United States government has reached a $5.15 billion settlement with Anadarko Petroleum Corporation, the largest ever for environmental contamination. This relates to a settlement of claims for thousands of pollution sites, mainly polluted by the Kerr-McGee company. You might remember Kerr-McGee from Karen Silkwood fame from about 30 years ago. Kerr-McGee transferred those claims over to a successor company called Tronox, which was ultimately acquired by Anadarko. For the claims really pertain to the dumping of creosote throughout the East, Midwest, and South. Somewhere Ms. Silkwood, who is deceased, of course, in a questionable death, possibly caused by Kerr-McGee, at least many people believe that, is smiling. 4 weeks ago today, the Malaysian airplane Flight 370 disappeared from radar screens. It's 28 days, of course. The black box batteries are expected to be able to last only for 30 days. So there's only 2 days to go. Meanwhile, the 8-nation search, which has deployed navies and Air Force assets off the coast of Australia now, still has not found anything, although they are finally having in place the highest, most sophisticated types of trolling machinery in order to be able to determine any acoustic pings. However, it may only be 48 more hours that the pings are going to be emitted. There's a sort of a subplot here. The nations are beginning to recognize that this might be a very long and very, very costly search. And the question is, how long are they going to continue it? A number of tornadoes struck the U.S. Midwest yesterday, from Texas to Illinois. A total of 8 twisters touched down during a 3-hour period. A number of them did damage in Texas. However, the most damaging one apparently was a pre-dawn EF1 tornado in a suburb of St. Louis, Missouri, that damaged about 100 homes, but fortunately didn't leave any injuries. More than 200 Cambodian garment workers have been hospitalized after a mass fainting at 3 separate factories this week, highlighting problems with an industry that's critical to Cambodia's future. The 3 plants make clothes for brands such as Puma and Adidas. The plants are now closed, and they're investigating the incident. Supposedly, according to Agence French press, tainted food, poor working condition, and the spraying of insecticides are suspected causes. About 650,000 workers in Cambodia form the backbone of an industry that pulls in over about $5 billion a year. There have been more than 1,000 reports of fainting in 2013 in factories mainly owned by Chinese, Taiwanese, and South Koreans. Most workers earn less than $100 a month, and many volunteer for overtime to boost their income. This is unfortunately the way capitalism can sometimes work. They've been pushed out of Bangladesh as a result of a spate of very, very tragic fires in factories over there, and it seems to have now been relocated to Cambodia. There was a power explosion at a substation of an electrical line in Victoria, in Australia yesterday. 3 faults near a substation near the town of Moro caused a very large blast that knocked about 80,000 people off the power grid in Latrobe Valley. All of the electricity was dimmed initially for a period, and then it went out. Apparently, it was a very loud blast at the high voltage power substation. One witness said, "At first, I thought we were under attack from an atomic bomb." That indeed would be a loud blast. The Lufthansa 3-day pilot walkout is going to cost the airline about 75 million euros. That's well north of 100 million US. The final number is still being calculated. Lufthansa also called on the pilots to come back to the negotiating table, but then they said that they're not going to be putting forth any new proposal. Lufthansa said, "We will open up talks on the basis of the offer that already exists." I wonder how long it will take until the next strike. One of the casualties of the U.S.-Russia stare-off over the Crimea seems to be McDonald's. The fast food giant said that it was shutting its 3 stores in the Crimea and indicated that it was willing to relocate its employees there back to the mainland, to the Ukraine, at the McDonald's expense. The announcement was cheered by some prominent Russian politicians who've been waging an increasingly vicious war of words with the West. The former presidential contender Vladimir Zhirinovsky said, "It's very good that McDonald's is closing its branches in the Crimea. Let them close their branches here in Russia too. As a form of sanctions, they've agreed not to poison Crimeans in Crimea. And we're supposed to be offended that we're not going to have to eat their poisonous food." I don't know about that. I've been to Russia and I've eaten their food. I wouldn't necessarily say it's too much better than McDonald's food. Have a good weekend. If there's any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. If not, we'll see you on Monday. Thank you for watching.